Start record. Is that, yeah, recording. Excellent. Guys, so just to let you know, you are being recorded as of now. This whole meeting is being recorded. If you do have an issue with that, please let us know. Otherwise, this recording will adhere to all the privacy policies and procedures that we have in place with paramedical services. So guys, as I was saying, welcome to Paramedical Services Diploma of Paramedical Science. Welcome to all our August intake students. I think in total, we've got approximately 32 students starting next Monday, and that's across both our full-time and our part-time intake platforms. So we look forward to you guys joining us, and we look forward to being a part of your journey as you undertake the Diploma of Paramedical Science and start your career in the pre-hospital and out-of-hospital environments. So tonight, what we wanted to do is we wanted to walk you through what to expect when you start your diploma with us next week. Hopefully that will prepare you to kick off and get started Monday and not delay any of that time to get stuck into the course. Please feel free to ask any questions as we go through the presentation that we've prepared for you. What I would ask you to do, guys, is just use the little raise hand button that you can see on the browser just at the bottom of your screen. Once you hit the raise your hand button, we will see that you've got a question, and we will stop and we will address your question as soon as we finish with the point that we were talking about. For those of you that have joined us this evening and are already part of the course, thank you so much for jumping on. Towards the end of this evening, we will be talking about time management, and we will be talking about your pharmacology protocol. So definitely a great time to jump on and just make sure that you're across your pharmacology protocol. And if you are struggling with time management, Kenny's got some great tips and tricks to help get you through this course, especially with the amount of modules in regards to your theory component that you are starting to undertake as you get into term 2 and term 3. So guys, let's get started. What does term 1 look like? For you guys that are just kicking off in the August intake, your term 1 will start Monday, the 3rd of August. So that's this Monday. Now you won't be required to come to base. You will start the course online. We'll talk to you about those online platforms in a moment, but what we're going to do is just give you an outline of what the course looks like for each term. So term 1 will consist of online theory modules and associated online lectures. And we've got 2 platforms for our online lectures. We've got a Paramedical Services Education YouTube channel, and we've got an associated partnership with Master Your Medics. And as you go through your modules, you'll see that there's actually links directing you to the online lectures that will help you answer those modules. So the modules you're going to look at in term 1 are anatomy and physiology, infection control, medical terminology. You will start with pharmacology, and this is something you'll progressively grow with as you go through the course. You'll look at documentation, and then we'll touch on law, ethics, diversity, and communication. So they are modules 1 through to module 6, and you'll be expected to finish them by the end of term 1. As I mentioned, we will introduce you to pharmacology, and when you go through your Canvas dashboard, you'll see the pharmacology documentation and you'll see a practice paper. Now, at term 1 level, you will be looking at level 2 pharmacologies. And we'll talk a little bit more about this at the end of the presentation when we look at pharmacologies. We have online weekly meetings just like this every week. So we would encourage you to try and get online on a weekly basis. One week we talk about your theory modules and we give you guys lots of opportunities to ask questions in regards to the modules you're struggling with. And the next week we talk about pharmacology. And every second week we pick a pharmacology and we break it down and we give you guys as much information as we can about that particular drug. So you will see reminders come out about those dates, the times, and the subject topic. So please try to free yourself up. When we do the Ask Your Instructor, it's every Wednesday. When we do the Breakdown Pharmacology, it's every Thursday. And they run from 7 till 8 once a week. We also will have Workshop 1. And Workshop 1 for you guys that are doing the August intake will consist of a 5-day online face-to-face session and a 7-day practical face-to-face session. Now, what this means is for 5 days, and you'll see this outlined in your timetable, for 5 days you will be expected to be online just as you are now, and we will be going through all the theoretical component of Workshop 1. Then when you come to base, and base is at Preston's in Liverpool in New South Wales, you will undertake a 7-day practical hands-on training workshop. And this will be all centred around the theory that you would have been exposed to when we did the online theory workshop. There'll be no lectures during this 7 days. It will be completely practically based. You will also undertake your assessments at this time in a level 2 capacity. And what that means is you'll undertake a pharmacology exam at a level 2 capacity, and you'll undertake a theory exam at a level 2 capacity, and you will be assessed practically on your basic life support and your vehicle extrication, a medical scenario, and a trauma scenario. So this will all form the basis of Workshop 1. Okay. So for Term 2, again, you will have online theory modules, and this will very much be associated around medical emergencies. With each of these online theory modules, you will also have associated online lectures. And once again, these will be split between the Paramedical Services Education YouTube channel and Master Your Medics online. Now, the medical emergencies will cover cardiac conditions, it will cover respiratory conditions, it will cover neurological conditions, and then it will cover generalised medical conditions such as endocrine disorders. So it will, the whole of Term 2 will look at medical emergencies that you may be exposed to in the out-of-hospital environment. From level 2 onwards, you will start looking at level 3 pharmacology, and this will expand from the level 2 pharmacology that you've been studying in Term 2. So again, you've got your pharmacology document. You'll be looking at all the drugs associated with level 3, and there is a level 3 practice paper to help you prepare for your assessments in terms of your pharmacology. We'll look at the level 3 pharmacology at the end of this presentation. Once again, you've got your online weekly meetings, which one week is an Ask Your Instructor session and a next week is a breakdown of pharmacology. And we've also got continuous student practice sessions. Now, those practice sessions are available to you at any time. Most people do like to wait until they've been to Workshop 1 to start those clinical practice sessions, but you don't have to. You can come to those practical sessions from Monday onwards. Now, once again, those practice sessions will be sent out in a weekly email, and those weekly emails are normally sent out on a Sunday night. And the weekly email tells you what's coming up. It tells you what online weekly meetings, what dates they're scheduled, what topics are scheduled for each date. They tell you what clinical practice sessions are scheduled, and they also tell you what modules are due at the end of every week. Guys, just to let you know, each of your modules will be due on a Sunday night. And again, this will be outlined in your timetable, but you will also receive a reminder when you get that weekly email on a Sunday night. Now, there's no face-to-face workshop throughout Term 2, but you are expected to complete 80 hours of clinical placement. As part of your paramedical services course, you can do your 80 hours of clinical practice with us. It is incorporated into the cost of the course. If you don't want to, if you don't live in New South Wales, if you've got an association with another organisation, that is perfectly okay. You do just need to let me know. We need to organise an agreement with that company. We need to approve that company, and then you will be able to start your training with them. But throughout the duration of term 2, you do need to undertake that 80 hours of clinical placement. Now, that clinical placement is based on your time frame. You can do 2 weeks straight, you can do 1 day a week, you can do every second weekend. It's completely up to however you can structure it. What we would ask is that you just let us know the dates that you're available, and then we will send you a roster based around the time, the event, and where you will be located in terms of your shift. Of course, if you're doing it with another organisation, you will probably have to do something very similar with them. When we look at term 3, another very full-on term, just like term 1 and term 2. In term 3, we're going to move on from medical emergencies, and we're going to look at trauma emergencies, environmental emergencies, and special population emergencies. And when we talk about special population, we're looking at obstetrics, neonates, pediatrics, and geriatrics. So term 3 is quite in depth in terms of your trauma, environmental, and special population emergencies. This will all be your online theory content. And again, you'll have associated online lectures spread out between the Paramedical Services Education YouTube channel and the Master Your Medics online site. Once again, you'll still be continuing to learn your level 3 pharmacologies. You will have that level 3 practice paper available to you, and you'll have the pharmacology protocols available to you as well. So we would encourage you throughout the whole duration of this course to start learning your pharmacologies early and don't stop learning them. This is the type of information that you've really got to learn by rote, okay? And you can't leave it till the last minute. You're not going to be able to cram for this, guys. It's something that you're going to have to start now learning and keep learning the whole way through your course. Once again, in term 3, you've got the monthly clinical practice sessions, and you've also got your online weekly meetings with trainers. And again, unless we change them, they're Wednesdays and Thursdays. Now, throughout term 3, you will be leading up to workshop 2 and your associated assessment day. At the end of term 2, we would encourage you to start preparing for your assessment day. And what we mean by that is attend as many clinical practice sessions as you can. What we teach you in workshop 1 in regards to the skills and the scenarios that we run you through will very quickly be forgotten if you do nothing up until workshop 2. And unfortunately, we've seen this in reality recently with quite a few students failing their assessment day and struggling to be able to attend workshop 2. So your assessment day is held about a month prior to the start of workshop 2, and it's designed to show us that you have the capabilities to go into workshop 2. So if you have done nothing practically from workshop 1, you will very quickly de-skill. And unfortunately, this is what we keep seeing in these assessment days. So please, please, please continue to practice what we teach you. And that is the reason for these clinical practice sessions, to give you a platform to practice your skills, okay? Especially if you're not working in this environment. If you're working, let's say at the bank or at Woolworths, or if you're a tradie on a job site, you are not practicing these skills on a daily basis, so you will lose them very quickly. So guys, I can't tell you how important it is to keep practicing what we're teaching you. It will prepare you for this assessment day. Now, on the assessment day, You will do your level 3 pharmacology exam. You will also undertake a basic life support scenario assessment, and you will do a trauma/medical scenario. And all of the scenarios we run as part of an assessment are surprise scenarios. You do not know what you're walking into. So you have to be comfortable and confident with all the medical and trauma concepts that we're teaching you. After you successfully pass that assessment day, you are eligible to come to Workshop 2. Now, Workshop 2, unlike Workshop 1, is completely face-to-face at base. So it's at Preston's in Liverpool in New South Wales. And it's 13 days, Monday to Saturday the first week and Monday to Sunday the second week. Each of those days runs from about 7 a.m. till about 6:30 p.m. So they're quite big days, and they will be full of content, full of practical, and full of scenario-based skills for you guys. You will sit practical assessments at the end of that workshop. You won't sit a theory exam at the end of Workshop 2. You will do a pharmacology exam at the assessment day before Workshop 2, but you won't do a theory exam at the end of Workshop 2. At the end of Workshop 2, you'll be assessed on a adult, pediatric, and neonate advanced life support scenario. And you'll also be assessed in a group scenario undertaking a trauma extrication of a patient or multiple patients, and that will be done in a group scenario. Oh, I think I've... Uh-oh. Can you guys see anything?
Yeah, we can still see it. Yeah, you're on slide 4.
Yep, can see everything.
Yeah.
I can't see anything.
Awesome.
You shouldn't start drinking so early.
Well, I tried not to, but I couldn't help it. I'm right here next to the fridge. Okay, I'm pretty sure I know what's on slide 4, so I'll go through slide 4 and then hopefully, Kenny, you can pick up slide 5. So guys, term 4 consists of the last term. This is where you get into the home straight, and this is where we bring together everything that you have been learning. So we look at a lot of the practical skills that we taught you in Workshop 2. And this is where we do the clinical skills workbooks. And those workbooks consist of airway skills, breathing skills, circulation skills, splinting and immobilization. We look a lot deeper into drug calculations, and we revisit ECGs. That is your modules, or what would normally be your modules in term 1, 2, 3, and for term 4, we're looking at the clinical skills workbooks. But they are still online modules, and there are also still associated online lectures, especially with Master Your Medics, that will help you answer those questions. We also look at mental health in this term, and we also ask you to do I think 3 clinical reflections, and they're clinical reports based around patients that you would have treated while you were doing your last 80 hours. So in term 4, this is where you are going to do another 80 hours of student clinical placement. And once again, that is incorporated into your course, or you can do that outside of paramedical services as long as you gain permission. And that's just a matter of having a chat to me, and we fill out some paperwork with the organisation. So you'll be doing your 80 hours. From that 80 hours, you will choose 3 reports or 3 cases or patients that you've treated, and you will write a reflection on those cases. That will be in addition to the online theory modules that you'll be doing. From that point in time, and please, Kenny, if I miss anything, let me know. From that point in time, you will start to get ready for your final assessments. So you'll still have access to all the online weekly meetings. You'll still have access to all the clinical practice sessions. And guys, we would strongly advise you to be attending every one of those clinical practice sessions at this stage, because your final assessment week is at the end of term 4. Now, your final assessment week consists of 2 components. The first 3 days are all practically based, where we get you back into the swing of things and polish everything up so that you can be ready for your final medical and trauma on the Thursday and Friday, the last 2 days. In workshop 2 and in the final assessment day, we do undertake a field day with you guys. So you will undertake 2 field days while you're going through your face-to-face training. Now, those field days are where we take you out of the classroom environment and we bring you to a location where we can make the scenarios as real as possible. And for any of you guys that are linked to the Facebook page for Paramedical Services, you may have seen that all over Facebook, where our students have undertaken different types of field days. So it's a fantastic opportunity to get you out and about, get you in a real house, get you out in a real paddock, and expose you to the elements that you're going to be exposed to when you're on road for real and working in the environment. So the first 3 days of that final assessment day will be preparing you for the last 2 days. And the Thursday and Friday is where you will undertake your final assessments for the course. Now, the final assessments will be a final theory exam, and this will be theory mixed in with pharmacology. So in this final exam, you will be asked 4 scenario questions. From those 4 scenario questions, we will have anat and physiology questions, we will have mechanism of injury questions, we will have pharmacology questions, we'll have treatment questions, and they will all stem from those scenario questions. We will give you tips and tricks on how to prepare for that exam. We will also give you examples on how to prepare for that exams, and we'll give you generalized topics that you should be studying to prepare for that exam. So we won't try, we're not going to try and set you up to fail, guys. We want everyone to succeed, and we'll help you as much as we can. After the theory exam, you will undertake a medical scenario and a trauma scenario. Now, once again, these scenarios are surprise scenarios, and you won't know what you're walking into. But we will have practiced this a lot, and as long as you come to as many clinical practice sessions as you can, you will most certainly be prepared. Kenny, can you kick on from slide 4?
I'm already on slide 5. So slide 5 is done and we are on slide 6. So slide 5 was pretty much where you covered. Yeah, so okay. Slide 6 is expectations.
All right, I'm going to just try and log off and log back on.
Yeah. I'll continue on, yeah. All right, she will be back, so I'll continue on. So pretty much following on with what Belinda said, there are certainly a lot of expectations that we require that you as the students become very familiar with. One is your adherence to the timetable. As it says there, it is not a self-paced course. What does it mean when we say it's not a self-paced course? That means the further you fall behind in the course, it will and can have real impacts on your standing within paramedical services. Why? Because our course is guided by set time frames and we cannot postpone it past certain cutoff points, which you'll learn about a little later on, and you would have all been informed about census dates when you signed on with us. The further you fall behind, the harder it becomes for you to catch up, and it becomes unrealistic in your time management load to be able to handle it. High quality answers based on research from reputable sites that doesn't include Wikipedia if you're ever bored, you can always just go into Wikipedia and go and change some of those factual statements that are contained within there. So understanding where you're getting your information from and the validity of it. Modules completed in full before submission. What this means is that if you accidentally submit your module, you will need to retake the entire module, copy and pasting whatever work you have done into the next attempt and then redoing it. You have a maximum of 3 attempts per module. This also means that if you get a question that has 5 different criteria, it doesn't mean that you answer 2 of the criteria. You skip number 3 because you think it's too hard and answer 4 and 5. It's at the discretion of the trainers, and in most cases, they will file your entire module for partially answering a question. Just because the question is worth 15 points and you feel that you don't need those other 3 points, so you don't answer it, it may result in a failed module. Plagiarism is detected. We do vet modules, and you will be contacted if we do detect plagiarism at any point with any of your submissions. If you'd like to further understand what plagiarism is, I suggest that you sort of look into that and understanding what it means to you as a student. In a nutshell, I'll summarize it in the fact that you cannot copy and paste your answers from another person's work or a website. There are very clear-cut indicators for us as assessors that are on this call to detect plagiarism very quickly. From there, we then submit your work into a tool that we use to assess it, and we will be in contact. If it occurs more than once, you start to jeopardize your position within the course. Attendance at all compulsory training workshops and assessment days, that's pretty self-explanatory. With submitting your modules, you will find throughout your course that you are required to attach photos, diagrams, and pictures. If you don't attach them to your submission, the module will be deemed a failed module. If you are having trouble understanding how to do that, please contact one of the trainers that you'll learn about in a minute, and they'll be able to help you understand how to do it. Alternatively, I know pretty much most of the ways around Canvas's platform, and I'll be able to show you how to fix the issue. But thinking and taking it to yourself that I can't be bothered to talk to a trainer and I'll just submit it without it, your module will be failed. Attend all weekly engagement calls. These calls are very useful, and they are only designed to build on your knowledge and understanding where we are progressing through the course, whether it's pharmacology or we have these calls around the theory modules. How can you understand what is happening within your progression? Do you need help with a particular module? Is there concerns and information you just want to know outside of contacting your trainers? Completion of your 160 hours of clinical student placement. As it stands, you have 2 blocks of 80 hours, and each of those blocks need to be completed, the 160 by the end of your course and 80 after completing your first face-to-face. Without completing those 160 hours, you are unable to complete the course. Continued engagement, online compulsory engagement tasks are in Canvas, and they're pretty easy to follow. You must complete these engagement tasks. Otherwise, we cannot progress you through the course and pass ECAF VSL cutoff dates. So make sure that you are submitting those.
Guys, Kenny, can I just jump in there in regards to the ECAF submissions?
Yeah.
For those of you that are undertaking a vet student loan with paramedical services, what will happen is you will receive an invitation from ECAF, and it will ask you to state whether you are still engaged in the course. If you do not respond to that, vet student loans will contact us and they will drop you out of being eligible for vet student loans. So this is compulsory. It's not from us, it is from the government, and you must complete this. So when I send out an email saying that it's time to submit your ECAF submission, please jump on and get this done. Okay, you will do this 4 times a year, and it has to be done if you're doing vet student loans. If you're not doing vet student loans, guys, please ignore the email. You don't have to jump on and say that you're engaged.
Perfect. Continue practice. I believe Belinda covered this a little bit earlier. You need to continue your practice, otherwise it will become very evident when we're assessing you face to face. And at the end of the day, if your trainers do not deem that you are competent, they will fail you. My encouragement to you is don't spend 2 years or more of your life studying this profession to not spend any time investing in the continued practice of scenarios. Because when it comes down to it and you make it to that very last scenario where the scenarios do become quite complex, you may fail it over and over again. So keep that in the back of your mind as you're progressing through. When you are facing difficulties, you have 3 trainers, and I'll introduce them in a second, that you can contact. Honestly, we are very attentive to responding to almost every single question that comes across. For myself, in a week, I probably respond to upwards of 30 or 40 questions that are asked. This is what we are here for. We are here to help you progress. If you don't engage us and you continue to submit sub-quality marks or questions, we will just fail you. And eventually you'll end up with a long line of failed modules. When you find that you are struggling, ask the questions early. If the question and your answer doesn't look right to you, engage your trainer. Ask a question. There are no stupid questions, in my opinion. There's only better learning. If by chance you get a non-yet satisfactory result come back, you need to attend to that module within 1 week. What I've found historically is that students may fail a module and just leave it and carry on with the course. There are fixed points throughout the course where that will become a problem for you, like transitioning from semester 1 to semester 2. If you have outstanding modules, that will affect your position in semester 2. So within 1 week of notification, go back and attempt it again. When a not yet satisfactory is issued, you'll be emailed through Canvas. So please ensure that you are reviewing the Canvas emails that do come out. And yes, there will be a lot of them. And look for these not yet satisfactory. The modules will be unlocked at the point that you're failed for your second attempt. As you can see here, there's 4 different trainers. Traditionally, Belinda is in charge of all of compliance as well as training. She would generally work with myself, Cole, and Chris to vet and answer your questions. There is a messenger group that you are able to contact most of us in real time, and if we are not busy, we will respond to it, irrespective of what time of the day it is. By all means, throw it up there or we'll answer it the next day. You can email or call, and you can set times where myself, Chris, or Cole can call you back and have a discussion. If you go that you are struggling with this, but you're not quite getting it, you can request a phone consult. Please do contact us so that we can do it. Go ahead, Peter.
There's just a spelling mistake on your email address, Kenny, so don't take that one down, guys.
It was designed so that I never got any emails. They are contained in your student guideline as well. And I don't believe the typo is in the student guideline. Cole?
Yeah, Kenny, that phone number for me is wrong.
Perfect.
So we'll have to change that.
It's all coming out. We give them the info and then stitch them up. They're going to be onto us.
We know what
Yes, I believe the details are correct in your student guideline. If they aren't, I'll get with Belinda and we'll send out an email to everybody through the Canvas platform with the right contact details.
Yeah.
So guys,
sorry, Belle.
no, you're right, Cole. Go.
If I can make a suggestion to everyone, if you're emailing in to ask questions and things like that, send your email to all 3 of us, not just one single person, because I might be out, I don't know, shopping for a couple of hours and Chris might be right smack in front of it and answer it for you. So it's always best to send them to the 3 of us, and one of us will get back to you pretty quickly.
So guys, I did just want to also introduce Peter. He's taken the time to jump on here with us this evening. And Peter is the Managing Director and Head of Education with Paramedical Services. While he definitely probably won't be someone you'll call or email with questions, you will definitely see him around, especially when you're at base. And sorry, Peter, I should introduce him, guys, as Dr. Peter Mangles.
Right.
Just call him
Thanks,
doctor. Sounds better. So we'll fix that up. Did you want to do these ones, Belle, and I'll switch back at time management?
Yeah. Okay, hopefully my computer hangs in. So guys, in regards to your textbook requirements, yesterday or the day before, you would have received an email that had the course outline attached. And I think on pages 9 and 10, the textbook requirements are listed. You don't have to buy the textbooks that are listed, but it is strongly recommended that you do. We do find that a lot of the students that struggle with the answers and that are getting not yet satisfactory results do not have the textbook, and therefore they're looking at old data or they're looking at non-reputable sites when they're answering their questions. So if you can, please buy the textbooks. You may even be able to get them on eBay, or you may be able to borrow them from the library, but please try and source the textbooks because they will certainly help you through the course. The 3 textbooks that we recommend are the Anatomy, Physiology in Health and Illness by Ross and Wilson. If you can access the Mosby's Paramedic textbook, that's great. There's a lot of old versions around that are definitely selling secondhand and quite cheap on eBay. But the new version of the Mosby's Paramedic textbook is now called the Saunders Paramedic Textbook, 5th edition. And of course, this is quite expensive. It is a new version and there's not a lot of secondhand versions going around. So feel free to get a secondhand Mosby's. If not, the Saunders is definitely the newest version. There's also the Applied Paramedic Law, Ethics and Professionalism. Again, you may pick up the 1st edition online, especially through eBay. If not, if you'd like a brand new version, we would ask that you get the 2nd edition, as this is the newest edition. In that textbook list, there's about another 2 or 3 suggested textbooks as well. These are merely just ideas, guys. They're just suggestions. They are great resources, and if you are going to be working in this industry for a long period of time, which hopefully you will be, they are definitely a good source of reference, and they will come in very handy not only through your studies, but throughout the duration of your professional career as well. So feel free to most certainly purchase 1, 2 or 3 of them, especially the ECG one. If you were looking at all 3 of them and wondering which one was best, I would personally go with the ECG one because it will help you in term 3 and term 4. Okay, so census dates. For those of you that are with vet student loans, or actually even if you're a full fee paying student, census date is the date that will be listed in each term that you can withdraw from the course without penalty. Now, if you continue on past the census date, you will receive an invoice for that course. And if you're paying through vet student loans, you will accumulate that debt. If you're a full fee paying student, you will be expected to pay that invoice. So the census date is the last date that you can withdraw from the course. Let's say, for example, the census date is the 19th. If you withdraw from the course on the 20th, you will be eligible for the fee for that. Now, there is 4 census dates, and you can pull out at any time prior to that census date. Let's say, for example, you go past the census date in term 1, you complete term 1, and then you pull out prior to the census date of term 2. You will not owe any money for term 2, but you will not get a refund, nor will you have your debt taken away if it's a vet student loan for term 1, because you have completed that part of the course. Okay, so you will get reminders of census dates. You will have an opportunity to pull out if you require. If you would like to defer, or if you would like to change an intake, let's say, for example, you're a full-time student and you would like to drop down to a part-time intake, please make these changes before census date. If you defer after census date, you are still liable for the cost of that term. Okay, just like if you defer, you are still liable for the cost of that term. So please make any changes prior to census dates, and I can assure you we'll give you plenty of notice that they're coming, and that if you're going to make a decision, you need to make it before that date. So there will be 3 different student online platforms that you will work out of as you go through the duration of this course. Now, your Job Ready platform very much just houses all your student information. So if you were to go onto your Job Ready platform, you would see you as a student, you would find course information about the course, and you would also see some articles, and they're just additional pieces of research for you. In all honesty, you probably won't spend a lot of time in Job Ready, because everything that's in Job Ready that you need is now also in Canvas. So the majority of your course will be spent on Canvas, on Master Your Medics, or on Microsoft Teams like you are tonight. For those of you that haven't been on Canvas, you should have received your welcome letter, and you should have received your invitation to join Canvas by now. Please hop on and have a look. Spend the next few days having a look around your dashboard so that you are familiar with Canvas come Monday. Now, Canvas hosts your whole course. Everything that you need from a theoretical perspective is in Canvas. It's got all your online modules right the way from term 1 through to term 4. It's got all the associated journal articles, pharmacologies, practice exams. We've even now got up skill demonstrations and scenario demonstrations. And we've got really good scenario demonstrations, and we've got some really bad scenario demonstrations. So these demonstrations and these skill videos are a fantastic way for you to start getting your head around what is expected of you when you come to do these final assessments. It's also got the information that you need about your course. So it's got the course outline, and it's also got your course timetable. So everything that you need for your course is in Canvas. You really don't need to go on to Job Ready anymore. Master Your Medics is a part of the course and a partner of Paramedical Services. As part of your course cost, you will receive a 12-month subscription to Master Your Medics online platform. At the end of that 12 months, you will then be offered a special price for another 12 months. So you get 12 months free, and then you get a discounted price for the second 12 months. Master Your Medics is a fantastic platform to complement our online modules. And you'll find a lot of the lectures that we will be referring to will be on Master Your Medics. And if you watch those lectures, they will help you answer those online module questions. It's also full of practice exams and study tips and preparation for final assessments. So Canvas and Master Your Medics is where you guys should be living and breathing. I would also encourage you to join the Master Your Medics Facebook as well, because they have weekly case studies and they do weekly online chats as well. So you'll get a lot out of the Master Your Medics Facebook page, just as you will out of the online platform. Guys, the other online platform is what you're on right now, and that's Microsoft Teams. We will be on Microsoft Teams every week, and we'll be also on Microsoft Teams for your Workshop 1, Week 1 training. So get quite familiar with all of those online platforms. And if you have any trouble with them over the course of the next few days, please let me know. Don't wait until Monday to start getting these platforms ready. Come Monday, you should know where everything is and you should be ready to go. Kenny, all yours. Yes, Katie.
Hi, I was just wondering, with regards to the textbook, I started a bachelor a couple of years ago and I've got an anatomy and physiology one. It is a little bit older. I know they've got a new edition. Can I use this, or should I just go get the one that's recommended by you guys?
Yeah, no, that's fine, mate. most anatomy and physiology textbooks are all the same. It really hasn't changed that much. So if you're running with a different style and a different edition, that's completely fine. The only thing you might find is where I've got read chapter 3, you may be reading chapter 5. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So I guess for myself, I've worked for paramedical service for some time, but I also work a second job as well as study on top of that. So for me, making sure time management is definitely something that I have to manage on a day-to-day basis if I want to achieve everything that I do. To do that, you have to take a lot of accountability on yourself as a student. One thing that I do see quite often, and it's occurred throughout the time that I've been assessing students, is that one or two things happen. Either you commit to a study load you can't handle, or you don't allocate sufficient time to manage your studies. Unfortunately, that's a personal responsibility and not something that any of us as trainers can do or point you in the right direction for. Unfortunately, you just have to take ownership for it. Continually falling behind will result in you not being able to progress in the course because you won't be able to keep up with the workload. Each module that you get given will come with a varied level of commitment, i.e. some modules might only have 10 questions and quite honestly, depending on how much effort you put into it, might only take you 2 hours. But there are some modules that can take you up to half a week. Where we want a quality answer, that module that has, and there's one module in particular that has about 8 questions, but the quality in the answer you need to provide is more than likely going to take you 2 to 3 days of decent study to fully understand. That's say 3 hours a night. When you answer those questions and you haven't put the time commitment into it, you will fail that module. And I would have to safely say that module in particular has a very high failure rate. And it becomes evident when students don't put the commitment into understanding what the question is asking and understanding how to convey their answer in a way that the question requires it. So how can we better time manage? We need to balance our work life and studies for one. If you're working full-time or part-time and you've enrolled in full-time study, my advice to you is that you may need to reconsider very quickly, because once you hit further and further into this course, the required work from you becomes more and more. And there are peaks as you go throughout the course where it is super, super busy and hard, and then it goes down, it's okay, and then it becomes really hard. It does become difficult to manage if you're working full-time and taking on full-time studies. Keep that in the back of your mind for anybody that's chosen to proceed with full-time studies and how that might affect you come census dates. For the people that have enrolled in part-time, generally you are working. That's why you chose part-time studies. That doesn't mean that you work 5 days a week and you try and cram all of your module requirements into Saturday and Sunday because it closes on Sunday and it's due. That will quickly become your downfall because you will not be able to keep up with the workload as you get further and further into the course. So in the early stages where you start working into this, consider how you'll balance your work and life studies to allow you to progress in the course on time each week. During your breaks, if you're working in the afternoon, at night, find some podcasts to help you understand what you're learning. Some of the modules that you will walk into, you may never even heard of before. For some of you guys that are coming into this from no medical background, you may not even fully understand what anatomy and physiology is. What are the hormones that are related to pregnancy? That kind of information, find your topic. If you have a quick brief look over it on day one, look for those things you probably have no idea about, and jump onto this link, and I'll share this link afterwards, to all these different websites that will allow you to listen to podcasts. A good one that I spend a lot of time listening to is pharmacology. We take a test every single year, but I assure you pharmacology is not something that ever just is there. Something you have to continue to learn on an almost weekly basis. And when we deliver these PowerPoints that you will see as you progress on the course for drugs, the time commitment to put into these to deliver it is huge. Why? Because there is so much learning to do with many different elements of paramedical science. It's huge. Where modules are deemed not yet satisfactory, you have a 1 week window to turn that around to assist you with keeping on track. How else can we do it? For me, understanding these 5 things is enough. 1, prioritize your day and then your week. If you have 5 questions you want to do on day 1 because you know that day 2 you're not going to have any time. How are you going to progress what you're required to do? To understand that you might need to go, well, this week I have 3 modules due. How am I going to achieve it? I'll just jump into the 3 modules. Okay, module 1 has 10 questions, module 2 has 25, and crap, module 3 has 50 questions. Have a look at the sheer load that you're taking on for that particular week and figure out how you're going to balance that out. Is there a particular module that you already understand a little better than the other one? So you can put that one as your first and then progress it. Create a to-do list. Put it in your phone. There's plenty of apps that will help you with that. If you use Microsoft Platform, you can set up reminder tasks that will pop up and tell you what you need to do. Flexibility is definitely important. We need to balance our enjoyment in life along with our studies. And I assure you, studying paramedicine is not the same as studying business or studying a cooking degree or anything else. The commitment is huge. Why? Because paramedicine and in the medical field, and I'm sure that Pete can relate to this, is it's immensely huge and it is so ever changing on every single week that keeping up with it is an ongoing task that you will never stop doing, especially if you choose this as a long-time profession. So how do you balance all of this mixed in with your own personal home life? That is something that you'll need to consider when you're trying to plan week by week. Intelligent neglect. Don't focus on trivial events or the little things. You know, if you're looking at a question and you find that you've just spent 5 hours on a question that probably should have taken you 1 hour, but you're sitting there for 4 hours thinking to yourself, I don't know how to do this. I don't really know what to say. Engage your trainer and move on. Come back to that question before you submit it. This will stop you from roadblocking yourself on a day-to-day basis. And look, just say no. Sometimes you're going to have to. If you've got 2 trauma modules due in 1 week that are each 30 questions on a topic you don't have much knowledge about, and your best mate comes up and says, let's go out and get drunk, I don't think that's going to work too well when you're hungover on a Saturday and your module is due on a Sunday. So there are times where you'll have to take that decision to say no to some of the things that you would like to be doing to focus on where you are in the course. If you follow these 5 things, I find that generally you'll be able to progress. Sure, you're going to hit bits that are harder to manage than others, but that will come down to commitment. If you start out in the course, which I believe most of you are going to, and module 1A, B, and C are not very complex, they start getting harder and harder. Your answer quality needs to be there from the start. If your answer quality is not there in module 1A and it's not there in B, C, D, E, and F, I believe that maybe those quality is never going to get any better. Good quality answers to the point. One thing that you guys are lucky enough to have that some of the students didn't have is you have a very, very conveniently placed question criteria listed within your question. That means that the question says, what are the 5 different bone types found in the human body? Right down below it, as an assessor, for what Chris and Cole do, is they'll look what we have as our criteria and we'll go, does they correctly list all 5 types and include one example? If you've met that, then you've met what we want from the question. Look at your criteria that is in a question as a guide to help you answer the question. The question is what you need to follow. The criteria is you demonstrating the knowledge for your assessors to go, that student knows exactly what they're talking about for that one, and that will determine your marks for each one. There is no clear-cut answer to time management. It's very much a personal responsibility. All right, that's all yours, Belle. Muted. You didn't unmute yet.
Sorry, guys. Okay, so pharmacology. When we were talking about term 1, 2, 3, and 4, you would have seen pharmacology continue to pop up. Now, on your Canvas and Job Ready dashboard, what you will see is you will see your pharmacology document. And guys, I'm just going to share my screen with you right now. And I'm going to bring up exactly what that pharmacology document is going to look like, just for those of you that are having trouble finding it. Okay. For everybody that is new to paramedical services and for everybody that has been with us for a while, please make sure you are using the Paramedic Pharmacology version 10, July 2020. Any other version should be thrown away, and this is what we should be using. So guys, this is your pharmacology document. And if we just go through it, we can see there all the different listed pharmacologies. And down here, we can see those different levels that I was talking about before. So workshop 1, you will be looking at level 2 drugs. For workshop 2, for term 2, term 3 and term 4, you will be looking at level 3 drugs. So for now, for those of you that are starting in August, you need to be studying all of these level 2 drugs. Once you finish workshop 1 and you start term 2, you need to move over straight away and you need to start learning the additional drugs that are listed in level 3. As I mentioned, guys, there is a practice exam for level 2 and level 3 as well. The only way you are going to learn these drugs is by rote. You just have to say them and say them and say them and say them. You need to write them down. You need to say them in the shower. You just need to live and breathe them, okay? This is the only way you're going to learn them. Please don't wait until the week before your pharmacology exam. It won't come to you, I can promise you, okay? You just have to practice them. I have had people make palm cards. I have had people make, we actually had somebody make a game out of it where they did the matching game where every time you turn them over, you've got the drug and then you've got to go and match the actual use of the drug or the contraindications of the drug. So that's always a great opportunity as well, is to make games out of these cards or these pharmacologies. Now, in terms of what you need to know with the pharmacology, once again, let me just flick back to it, guys. What we need to know, so we'll just have a look at a acetylsalicylic acid or aspirin, is we need to know what the use of aspirin is. So what do we use it for? What is the action of aspirin? What are the adverse effects? What are the contraindications? And what is the dosage? And of course, that's different for every drug, but they are the 4 main components or 5 main components that we're looking at. What's it used for? What's its action? What's the adverse effects? What's the contraindication? And what's the dose? Now, in some instances, there will be special, let me just see if I can find one. There'll be a special note. They are good, or a precaution. You can see here, this one's got a precaution. They are definitely things that you need to understand as well. But you're not necessarily going to get tested on the precautions. You are going to get tested on adverse effects and contraindications, but you should understand and know of the precautions as well. Okay. Guys, again, if you're having any difficulties with your pharmacology, please feel free to give us a call. Okay, so begin by learning level 2 and then start learning level 3 as soon as workshop 1 is over. Okay, guys, let me just get this back up. Browse. Won't be a sec, I'll just bring the Can you guys see the?
Not yet, Bella, hasn't come up yet.
Okay. Kenny, it keeps saying it's got a failed upload. Can you pop it up from your end?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
So guys, while Kenny's doing that, I'll just continue on in terms of the pharmacology. You will be doing what is called Workbook 4A and 4B Part 1 in Term 1. This will get you started on your pharmacology, and then in Term 2, you'll be doing Workbook 4B Part 2. So there will be 2 different components to your pharmacology. Don't wait for these workbooks. Start learning them now, okay? And don't stop throughout the whole duration of your course. Just keep learning them. I'm sure Cole and Chris and Peter can agree on that one in terms of learn them, and don't stop. You having difficulties?
I believe it's an issue with Teams because it's just rejecting any upload, no matter what the content is.
Okay, let me share my screen and then I can bring it up through there. Back to where we were. So guys, can you see that now? Kenny, can you see that pharmacology?
Yep, I can.
Sure can, yep.
Excellent. Okay. So as mentioned, guys, Term 1, you will be looking at Level 2. You will touch on pharmacology in Module 4A and 4B Part 1. You will have access to all of our breakdown pharmacology live online lectures. We have already run 3 this year, and I will make sure that for those of you that are starting the August course, you receive links to those lectures. From here on out, though, make sure that you do get yourself online and you're part of the breakdown pharmacology sessions. Just to reiterate the exams that you'll be undertaking in terms of pharmacology, in Workshop 1 in Term 1, the last Saturday of the course, you will undertake the Level 2 pharmacology exam. It is a closed book exam, so make sure you start studying now. In Term 3, you will undertake a closed book pharmacology exam, and this will be for Level 3. Okay, this will be as part of your Diploma Readiness Day, and it'll be prior to you coming to Workshop 2. As part of your final theory exam, you will also have to incorporate pharmacology into your answers. So start pharmacology now, guys, and don't stop. That's a tip from us. So what do you do now? Well, the course starts on Monday, so please set up all 3 of your online learning platforms. As I mentioned, guys, if you're having any difficulties at all, please let us know and we will help you set those platforms up now so you're ready to go on Monday. Order your textbooks. The Booktopia, I have found, is often the cheapest site. I have also heard of a lot of people that have found them secondhand on eBay. So jump on there and have a look as well, guys. Familiarise yourself with the online platforms and print out your timetable. Have a look at all those dates, especially in regards to your face-to-face training. Guys, I'm going to bring up a timetable in just a sec, but I'll go through the rest of these and then we'll just have a look at what the timetable looks like. Print out or download your pharmacology protocols and start learning them now. As Kenny said, look at what is due week 1. Think about how you're going to succeed and ensure that your modules are submitted Sunday week from now. Please send me your shirt size and send that to training@paramedical.com.au. The first day that you come to the face-to-face training for week 2 of block 1, you will receive 2 student shirts that you'll be able to wear for the duration of your course. and you should wear this shirt every time you come to base, whether it's for a clinical practice session or it's part of your face-to-face training. Join the Facebook Messenger group and the Paramedical Services Education Facebook page. The way in which you join the Facebook Messenger group is you send me a friend request. You're looking for Belinda Crean, and that is CREAN for November on Facebook. If you send me that request, I can then bring you into the group. Be ready to start your online learning on Monday. And most of all, guys, welcome to the course and enjoy your journey. Let me just really quickly bring up this timetable just so we can see what one looks like. Guys, this is the timetable that you will have on Canvas and on your student dashboards on Job Ready. And this is exactly what it looks like. So we can see semester 1 begins week 1, the 3rd of August. And if you're undertaking part-time studies, you have module 1A and 1B due Sunday week from now by midnight. Now, if we continue to scroll down, you can see there that every week we have something due. And then right here towards the end of term 1, we have that face-to-face training block. Now, as I mentioned, week 1 is your online live lectures, and then week 2 is at base. So we can see here in January, we've got week 2, and we've got group 1 and group 2. Now, you will be allocated a group, and that will come out via email. And then depending on what group, you will then have to come to base in that week. If we continue to scroll down, we can see semester 2, and this is where you need to also be doing your 80 hours of clinical placement, as well as undertaking more modules. If we have a look at semester 3, we kick into those trauma modules. We've got that assessment readiness day that we were talking about. And then after the assessment readiness day, we've got the face-to-face training block 2. Finally, in semester 4, you're looking at your final modules. And then we have the final assessment week. And after that, as long as everything is satisfactory, you will be invited to graduation day. So guys, that's just a look at the timetable. Please familiarise yourself with that. I would like to thank you all for attending today or this evening. I hope it gave you a good insight into the course and what we expect. And we'll open the forum now. And if you've got any questions, please raise your hand and we'll come around. So, Emmeline.
Yeah, my question was just about the groups for the workshops. I just wanted to know when we're going to know what groups we're in so I can put in leave and things for work.
Yeah, mate, definitely within the next 2 to 3 weeks. Okay. What we will do is we're just going to enable the dust to settle a little bit. What we find is in the first week, a lot of people that have enrolled in full-time switch to part-time. And unfortunately, if we set the timetable now, we have to go around and change it. So we will give everyone 2 to 3 weeks just to get settled, to make sure that they are comfortable with the intake they're in, and then we'll go ahead and fix those groups.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Joy.
Hey, sorry, I heard you say there was an ECG book. I didn't catch the name of it.
For the textbook?
Yeah.
Let me put it in the chat. I'll just grab the name of it for you. I've just got it right here next to me.
Okay, sweet. The other one, you said pharmacology protocols. Are you just referring to the pharmacology, or because I didn't think we had access to the protocols?
Yeah, sorry, mate, the pharmacology document.
Okay, sweet.
Yes. I'm just going down. Any more questions, guys? At the moment, I can't see any hands up. If anyone's got a question, Geordie.
Hey, with that pharmacology document, whereabouts can we find that?
If you go onto Canvas, and you have a look at where it says Diploma of Paramedical Science Term 1/Semester 1.
Yep.
From memory, it's sitting right there. And it says pharmacology document or pharmacology protocol. It's something like that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
It's at the top of their student portal. When you're looking at it from a student view, it's at the top.
Thanks.
Yes, Joyce.
Sorry, while I have Peter here, I was wondering, did you come up with a date for pediatric for fentanyl from last week?
No, mate, I haven't. I've been running sessions this week, so I haven't seen him.
There's no need. It was a typo on my end, right? So when I put that together, Joy, I read probably close to 30 articles to build that PowerPoint, as well as a few other case studies. And in all of my research, my brain said to put it in there, and we just didn't pick it up. So it was an oversight. If you read the current protocols and guideline, you will find that it is no longer gated by that 12.
Oh, yeah, no, sorry. I was just looking on our new pharmacology and it didn't have it on there either. So I just wanted to figure out what we went off for that.
Follow the current guideline, and I'll remove it from the PowerPoint if it's not already been removed, Belle.
No, now pharmacology doesn't have it.
Yeah, so Peter, the question from Joy was for fentanyl, it lists pediatric, but it doesn't actually have an age next to it. So are we looking at 8 years of age or 12 years of age, or is there a specific age we should be taking on board?
So when you do, if you ever do your math around pediatrics, it's usually around that 8 year of age, because then it kicks into adult dosing.
Okay. All right. So less than 8's peds.
So depending on what formula you're using, what formula you're using for calcs, Bill?
For they've all looked.
2 plus.
That's the one Gary told us during our face-to-face.
Yeah.
For less than 8, like 8 times 2 plus 10. I think over 8 is like their age times 3. I mean, so their weight times 3 is like, oh, I can't remember. I have to look it up again.
The point here, Peter, is the guideline that the current protocol doesn't contain an age. It does say pediatrics, but it doesn't contain an age. Yeah. When I built the fentanyl presentation, I put an age in there. I said an age, but it was just through research and I didn't pick it up.
Yeah. And generally, I mean, protocols will differ all over the place in regards to what is a child. So this is, a pediatric, it can be any, if you go to a hospital, for example, a pediatric can be anything under 16 years of age. So, it comes down to the weight is the important issue.
Okay. Thank you.
Caitlin, was it Caitlin? Did you have a question, mate?
Yeah, I missed the beginning part where there was mention about if you're on I think it was like a work, like I'm on my work account through Teams, and they said something about separating it. I missed what it was. I'm sorry. Could you just explain?
So because our work or organizational teams doesn't allow you to interact in most cases with chat or some of the content that we may share in certain calls. To make this work, you need to sign in on your personal device as a non-organization. So you create it through your personal email and set it as a friends and family. And it just, I don't know why Teams doesn't allow outside of organization to work properly when it does for Peter. But yeah, I don't know. Teams need a few more bugs to figure out for them, but you'll need to do it at some point. It's not important just yet, but it needs to be done.
Yeah, no worries. I just wanted to be clear about what needed to be done because I just missed the beginning of it. So thank you.
Maddie, you had a question. You're on mute, Maddie, if you're trying to talk. Okay. So Joy, I have put that name of the ECG book in the meeting chat. And Shishleen, I can see here you've got a question in regards, can we talk about what to expect after we finish the diploma? Yeah,
Yes,
listen,
please.
it really depends on you as an individual. And I think everyone's very different in their thought process in this. For me personally, and I know for Kenny as well, we continued on and we're finishing up with the Bachelor of Paramedicine. You don't have to go on, you don't have to do a Bachelor of Paramedicine. If you want to become a registered paramedic, from around about here on out, you will have to go on and you will have to do the Bachelor of Education, the Bachelor of Paramedicine. Now, there's a number of universities that you can go to at the moment to do your Bachelor of Paramedicine. There's UTAS, there's ACU, there's the University of Western Sydney, there's Bathurst University, there's Port Macquarie, there's CQU up in Queensland. So there's definitely quite a number of universities that do offer the Bachelor of Paramedicine. If you don't want to go on and do the Bachelor of Paramedicine, there are still a number of roles that you can undertake in this industry. You just won't be able to call yourself a paramedic. And those roles will be dependent on the organisation that you work for. So for us, you would be joining the medical team as an emergency medical technician, and you would be operating in and around that level 2 type of scope that we looked at when we looked at the pharmacologies. I know on mine sites at the moment, they're calling them emergency safety officers. They do have a larger scope than an emergency medical technician. It kind of borders on being similar to a paramedic, but it doesn't go as far as intravenous cannulation, needle decompression. It more sits in and around that intramuscular injections, subcutaneous injections, still advanced airway, but not necessarily ET tubes, more in and around the LMAs and the eye gels. You could go and do some work overseas, especially in regards to volunteer work overseas, especially if you were to go to a third world country, or you were to go to an underprivileged country. There's definitely the opportunity to take on work overseas as well. I suppose the biggest thing at the moment, though, is that unless you continue on with this course and undertake the bachelor, is you can't call yourself a paramedic at the end of the diploma any longer. Peter, is there anything that you could add to that?
Just to say that if you are going to go on and do a study, as Bill indicated, actually there's 23 universities in Australia and New Zealand that you can go and do your degree program at. 3 in New Zealand, 20 in Australia. So there is an enormous collection of tertiary level or higher education that you can do. Obviously, or under APRA, any at the moment our diploma is recognised, but after 2021, when grandparenting ceases, then they will cease to register the diploma students. That said, though, as Belinda indicated, there's enormous varying roles that an individual can actually do, having obtained the diploma as such.
Guys, what I
clarify quite there, Belinda, and that is the biggest point of the diploma in terms of going to tertiary education is at the moment there are a few universities that will recognise this diploma and remove a full year from your bachelor. Now, a Bachelor of Paramedicine, a full-time study in a university is 3 years. If you do the diploma and go to university, they take that first year off, and then you will do a conversion pathway. So long as you are employed as an EMT/paramedic or whatever within the field, you can actually gain that full year of credit. So for people that have left school and don't have the OP to enter, or whatever the New South Wales particular score is, because you guys are all different, you can go in the back door, if you will, to a full bachelor through a conversion pathway. So this is the biggest benefit for if you do the diploma and you're like, well, you know what, actually I want to do the bachelor. This course is not a waste. Why? Because it takes a full year off the degree. So if you went to university for a year, or you do this for a year and a half, either way, you still grant that full credit, or 150 credit points, I believe it is. So that's a very important part or choice that you can make at the end of this on what you want to do.
The other thing around the diploma is that because it's a nationally recognised program, that the divergence in paramedicine right now is extraordinary, and we're seeing paramedics start to move into a whole range of different roles and functions. So having the diploma actually allows you to go and work, even if you are studying, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to work for an organisation like Paramedical Services or other private providers, but you can work in aged care facilities, you can work for disabilities, you can work across a whole range or a whole broad spectrum of different sectors now. Remembering that this is a nationally recognised program that carries significant weight in different sectors, not just in the out of hospital, pre-hospital area.
Guys, I'll just add one last point before we ask Maddie her question. Having gone through the diploma and having gone through the bachelor, I've got one more clinical unit to go. The level of our diploma will actually set you up really nicely for the bachelor. And we've had people, including myself, go from the diploma to the bachelor program. And in all honesty, there's not much difference between the two. So, you know, for those of you that haven't felt like you could go forth and do university studies, I can assure you, once you finish this course, you will be more than capable of going and continuing on and finishing that bachelor degree. And especially if you put in a lot of effort and your answers are of good, high quality standard, you'll have already learnt 90% of what you're going to touch on in that bachelor degree. Shishleen, you had another question there?
Yes. I know the UTAS is one of the universities that take the credits from the course. Do you have any others that it's indicated, like the other people have doing that?
Yeah, so the other one I know of is definitely Bathurst Uni. Unless I'm mistaken, Campbelltown, which is Western Sydney Uni, and ACU don't give credits. However, I do know UTAS and Bathurst Uni do.
Sorry,
Okay,
Belle. I don't have a hand thing because I'm a guest, but with the unis, just to what Kenny was saying before, so I emailed Bathurst Uni and they said they'd only give me like 5 credit points, but Kenny mentioned like the whole year off. What's that? Like, what's the difference with that?
So by the sounds of it, it would be the universities themselves. So each university doesn't have to adhere to what another university is doing. They can all make their own rules. So Kenny and myself are at UTAS, and both of us have received 150 credit points for our diploma. Tom, I know, went to UTAS, and Miriam has gone to UTAS. So I'm not sure of anyone that's gone to Bathurst from the diploma. So if they're saying 5 credit points, then at the moment, that is probably what they are running with. And guys, this can change year on year because it does depend on the university. So what they offer this year may not necessarily be what they offer next year.
Okay.
So that's correct. So, I mean, each university has the same sort of course structure and coding to their courses, but how they deliver the content is completely different. So the benefit of UTAS is their course content is delivered in a way that complements our diploma. With other universities, they may have structured their course in a way that is not compatible with the units of competency that are contained within this nationally recognized course. That's pretty much all it comes down to. Or look, they might just go, look, we can make more money by giving you less credit. It's the other way to look at it. So.
Yeah, right. Because UTAS said it'd be up to them once our application went in. But yeah, Bathurst said it depends on the amount of experience. So if I was straight out of a diploma, they'd give me 5. But if I had 8 weeks of EMT experience, I'd be given more and stuff. So I was just, thank you.
Yeah. And guys, I do know we actually give you results. So we don't give you, although we say at the end of the day, not yet satisfactory or satisfactory, each of your modules will actually be marked out of 100. And I know the unis definitely look at that as well. I know for Jordan, as he was going through, they took into account that all of his results were above 95%. And so we're able to print you out those results. And for every module, you're able to see the results that you got. And that's out of a percentage. And I know that carries a lot of weight as well when you're applying for credits for university.
I didn't consider that either, Belle, but I submitted that transcript with my application. I didn't consider that as a factor, but very much so, yeah.
Okay, Maddie, you've got a question.
Yeah, so I was struggling before, but back to the pharmacology thing. I can't find it on Canvas anywhere. I'm not really sure where it is.
Let me just leave that one with me for a sec, Maddie. And while I look for that, Joy, you've got a question?
Yeah, sorry, you keep on saying that you guys are doing the bachelor, but Charles Sturt has put me in a graduate diploma of paramedical science. Is that the same thing if they change the name of it, or if they just put me in the wrong course?
A graduate diploma, Peter, correct me if I'm wrong, but is that like a graduate certificate that's under the bachelor?
No, so if you're going into a graduate program, it's usually after a undergraduate degree. So they either have put you in the wrong course or they're recognising your diploma. One of them.
Okay. All right, because I've technically been enrolled in the Bachelor of Nursing and Graduate Diploma of Paramedical Science.
So you're doing a dual degree.
Yeah.
Then that's fine.
Okay, I just was freaking out that they weren't, I couldn't at the end of it be called a paramedic. I was like, what? Oh no.
You'll be recognised.
Okay, sweet. That's my little freak out over. Thank you.
Okay, guys, I'm just going to share my screen and let me just bring up Canvas again, just so that we can show you guys exactly where this sits. Okay, so when you go onto Canvas, guys, your dashboard will be a little bit different to mine because I've got obviously a few more courses. The course you're going to click on is the Diploma of Paramedical Science. Now you can see here, once I've clicked on that Diploma of Paramedical Science, I come up to the home page. And from the home page, on the left-hand side, you should be able to see home, modules, discussions, and announcements. Now, I think everything else for you guys will be grayed out, but you will have access to the top 4.
Click on Student View, Belle, and it will show them exactly what they see.
Oh, yeah, okay. Guys, what we will ask you to do is turn on your announcements, because this is where we send emails through. And if you haven't got your announcements turned on, you won't get those emails. So flick on your announcements, click on your announcements. If you hit modules, then this will bring you to where all of your modules are. And what you'll see is if you scroll down, now yours will look like this. Okay, mine are all open because I'm in this every day, but yours will look more like this. So you won't actually see what's sitting under the tab. If you go to that Diploma of Paramedical Science Term 1, Semester 1, this is where your pharmacology is sitting. So you've got your pharmacology here and you've got your Level 2 practice paper. The tab above that are the links to the online lecture sites that we were talking about. Now, if you continue down, you've got your first engagement task, and this is where you're going to introduce yourself to everybody. And then we start off with the modules. So here under confirm physical health status, you'll see we've got module 1A, module 1B, module 1C. And if we just click on module 1A, we can have a look at exactly what that looks like. So here you've got your instructions. It tells you the readings that you should undertake for this module, and it gives you the online lectures that you should watch. It then tells you the objectives, and it gives you the instructions as to what we expect for you to pass this module. If you hit resume quiz, then you'll see that first quiz now comes up. So I've got here question 1, define the term anatomy and physiology and describe how they relate to each other. Down here is where I'm going to place my answer. And then once I've completed that, I'm going to hit next, and that will take me to question 2. Now, guys, if you accidentally hit submit quiz, we will get that quiz, and that quiz will be closed to you. And if you've only answered 1 out of the 10 questions, that will result in a not yet satisfactory module. So please don't hit submit quiz until the very end. Okay, you're going to hit next. And then once we hit next, then we've got question 2, and we would type in the answer to question 2. Okay. Just jump out of that. Guys, it's just going to take its time. Okay, so if I now leave student view. Okay, so this is where you're going to have everything you need. You'll also have your course timetable in here, guys. That will be sitting at the top. And for you, so the Diploma of Paramedical Science student information. Our handbook is there. What we are looking for in regards to assessing you at our face-to-face assessments. Sorry, guys, I just need to come up. There we go. So the face-to-face assessment outline, our plagiarism, cheating and collusion policy, and then for those of you undertaking the August intake, you can see there's the course brochure and the full-time and the part-time timetable. Okay, so as we mentioned, guys, please jump online and start to make yourself quite familiar with this site.
The contact details in your student guideline is correct. Only my email is not, but the email that's currently in there is fine for you to use. To clarify on the earlier slides.
Lionel, you had a question.
Oh, yeah. Could you pull up the PowerPoint you guys were going through before? I had a question. Can't remember what it was called. It's got to do with the practical skills. You said there's a weekly workshop or something like that where you can come in and practice. Yeah,
so the weekly clinical, they're not weekly. We normally run 2 a month. In some instances, we run 3 a month. It just depends. Yeah. We run one 9:30 till 12:30, and we run one 4 till 6 or 6 till 9. Every few months we will run them on a Saturday as well, and that's normally 10 till 1. So they're open to everybody. We just ask that you let us know if you're coming so that we can make sure we have the right number of instructors. But they're called clinical practice sessions, and they're opportunities for you guys to come in and practice as much as you can.
Cool. Now, following up on that as well, we don't have our workshop till later in the year, of course, where we won't be getting the clothes. So if we wanted to come to one of those practice workshops earlier, is there any way we could get the shirts earlier?
Yeah, certainly. So when you arrive at the first one, just let us know and we'll make sure we grab you a student shirt.
Awesome. Yeah, that's my only question. Cheers.
Okay, Chris, how can I help?
Yeah, good day, Belinda. Just had a question. When you're in the Canvas account and it said term 1 compulsory engagement task, nothing's under there at the moment, but that's because you weren't in the student view, were you? So we can't start that until Monday, is that right?
That's correct. So your course will officially open at 11 or 12:01 on Monday morning.
So, right.
Yeah. So even though I can see it all, you guys will be able to get into Canvas. You'll be able to see your timetable and your course outline and all the policies and procedures. But I think the discussion, the introduce yourself and module 1A, that opens up first thing Monday morning.
Right, sweet. And is it possible to get the link for the podcasts in the chat here, or just that was on the slide? Or is that something?
I'll check it in there right now. No.
Oh, so thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we had Chris, your hand's down. Did we have anyone else, guys, before we call it a night?
Yeah, sorry, Belle. Again, I don't have my hand thing, so I'm just going to butt in.
That's okay.
Before with the pharmacology, you mentioned there were workbooks to do in each of the, like each semester or something. I haven't done I haven't done any workbooks for pharmacology.
No, you guys, so we've actually changed them since you guys have come through.
Oh, okay.
So you guys would have done module 4A in its entirety. And if you remember right back to term 1, it was a really big module.
Yeah.
Since then, we've actually broken it up into 3 modules because based on you guys and your feedback, it was too much, it was too soon, and you just didn't need to know all of that in term 1.
Yeah, okay, awesome. I know I had like a 3-hour phone call with Paul Kenny back when I did it. So, yeah. All right, cool. Thank you. Just you mentioned it and I got scared for a second.
I mean, on the plus side, this I guess is something we didn't cover in here, and something I'll put into it for next time is the feedback that you guys give is very, very important. Whether you think the feedback is valid or not, that feedback can in some cases lead us to better understand, is a particular point in the course too much, too little, not working, or working. So the goal is to give you an experience that you will value and take on to your professional careers. But if you feel like that's not working as an individual, then we can look at how that is addressed. So that can be done either by contacting myself or Belinda, so that we can then formulate a change to how we can manage it if need be. And that may not always be the case, but feedback is 100% welcome.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Kenny.
Belle, can I quickly bug you?
Yeah, who's me?
Sylvia.
Hey, Sylvia. Yes, mate.
Just on this whole feedback thing, can we, you've got your clinical workshops, but can we have some directed to the guys who have just finished Cert 4 and some that are just directed to like diploma students, just so, because like we get there and a lot of the time it's just like practicing bandaging, which is like obviously helpful, but you know, we've all just come off finishing IV and stuff, and the only time we will be able to practice would be those workshops. So.
Yeah, mate. So now that you guys, we've got you guys that have finished, we've got another group next week that's just about to start and finish. And I think leading into the back end of this whole year, we're mainly running workshop 2. So that will definitely be a consideration as we go into these clinical skills. You guys just you're coming because obviously if the only people that are responding are at workshop 1, then we will keep it at that level. But if we know you guys are coming, then I'll make sure either Chris is available or I'm available. Peter might be around, Gary might be around, Bill might be around, but we will make sure that we've got the resources available for you guys.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're going to call it a night, guys. Fantastic session. Thank you so much, everyone, for jumping on board. Thank you, Peter, Chris, Cole, and Kenny. And let's call it a night and go and have a wine.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Yeah, thanks for your time, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
See you, everybody.
See you guys.
See you, Chris.
I'm not going yet.
Oh, I thought that was you that said see you, everybody.
Did you see?